daughter. It was yeah, it was fun. I work really, really, really hard. I'm a workaholic. Can you hear me, or is this kind of
Yeah,
muffled?
yeah, I can hear you. That's cool.
Um, and yeah, I work really hard, and then some days I just crash for 12 hours. So it's because I
Yeah.
also work. Like I said, I spent 3 hours in the pool with my daughter yesterday, like wrestling, and so just I'm a busy guy.
Is that you keeping active through your after your MMA career? Are you keeping active?
Yeah, she's a huge part of it. I mean, I work out like a lot,
Yeah.
not every anymore, but I work out probably anywhere from 2 to 5 days a week. It depends on where where I'm at, what I'm doing, how busy I actually am. My my business takes precedent over everything right now because I've got like fuck, I have so many projects going on. They all my projects tie into one, but I'm a consultant for a bunch of companies, and I own part of a few different companies, um, and I'm learning still. Like I work with doctors and scientists and educators and these super intellectuals that I I'm having trouble keeping up with. We'll say I've kept up with everyone physically my whole life. Like that's easy. I'm a physical. I won the genetic lottery. Super athletic. Not bad to look at. Kind of pretty. I'm rugged, as they say. And I've been gifted some cool stuff, and I've exploited my genetic lottery through physical stuff my whole life. Just I was the best in the world at something very hard, and now I've put that as second. Health and wellness is everything to me, but that's I still do that. It's just what I do. But my mental capacity and my emotional capacity is what I'm building on. What I'm learning from, and like if you take the people that I'm around all the time are really, really, really smart, like super genius type of people that are like I said, doctors, professors, scientists. My girlfriend's been a scientist for 25 years. She's a huge part of my education, and just like and then now I'm educating people myself. So it's just there's a lot of work to do. I do feel bad for the kids because we've got 5 of them total, and but we're both workaholics. So it has its pluses and minuses because we're able to afford them an amazing life. Um, and I'm able to invest in the companies that I consult for. I'm buying one house and buying or selling one house, buying a farm. I'm doing this. I'm doing that. I'm trying to set up this whole ecosystem of life I'm pulling off. It's pretty crazy. But yeah, it's just I don't know. I go really hard, so I get tired sometimes.
If you don't mind explaining to me and the viewers, what kind of business do you work for? Is it like, as you mentioned there, you buy houses and sell them? Are you into like estate agent, like real estate agents?
Buy and sell stuff because I can, because it makes
Yeah.
sense. One house we have needs to be sold because we're trying to buy a farm. We're trying to have a biodiverse farm out in the desert. We bought this oasis. We close escrow actually in a couple of days, um, where it's the 600-foot geothermal well with a hot spring. And it's out in the middle of the desert, like 120 degrees there right now. But we have the whole aquaponics as far as the water goes from the well into a pool or into a big lake that was man-made that is got fish in there. So the fish poop and eat, and it creates aquaponics. It's kind of aquaponics, I guess. I'm not really savvy with it, but anyways, that irrigates the whole property. So then we have very, very, very healthy, not only pure water with good mineral content and whatnot, which is another thing I have to learn exactly what's in there. But we're out in something called desert hot springs, some of the purest water on the planet. So then you mix in all the fish poop and whatnot, and you have really healthy water for the whole place.
Yeah.
And dates, figs, citrus. We're gonna have, just that's just where we want to have as our getaway place. Like if shit really goes crazy, I'm not a prepper or anything, but we've got solar panels and a whole 200 unit solar panel field. Um, it's 40 acres. Like we have a place to run away to. It's our own little oasis. And again, that's because as a group, our team, we work hard and we've earned it. We were able to buy this. So it's really nice to have. But that's just our place. That's our Eden. But business wise, I consult in the MMA space still. I have a company called Scoring Senate. trying to change the face of scoring and judging in mixed martial arts because it's broken.
God, don't even get started with that.
I know people are gonna be like, oh, he's just bitter because of what happened to me. I don't give a shit. Great.
I completely agree with you because the judging in MMA at the moment is absolutely broken. We need to sort that out. I mean, just look at the recent fights at UFC 251, Volkanovski versus Holloway. In my opinion, it should have went Holloway's way, and he didn't get the nod that night. So
going with Alex, but either way, it doesn't matter who you choose. The broken system. That's what this is should have. Like not just the scoring system, the scoring system itself. It started this way. Steve Siao is the creator of Scoring Center. And he hit me up. He goes, hey, do you mind chatting? And I was like, oh, I love this. Yeah, let's do it. Get on a call, start, consulting with him about stuff. And he's like, man, you really helped me a bunch. Let me give you a piece of the company, basically. And we just become friends. I helped set up a senate of fighters, of senators, of not judges, but senators. And then we've got Boss Rutan, Chuck Liddell, Rashad Evans. The list goes on. Heather Jo Clark, Carl, Ashley Evans Smith, Angela Hill, a few of the ladies. Like it's massive. Bunch of really, really good people that deserve this title, not some people that got grandfathered into a deal because they knew somebody. I'm sorry. We don't mean to rain in your parade or piss in your Cheerios, but these people aren't qualified to do what they do, and they're judging. They're giving. They can change someone's life forever by one score. It's pretty crazy to think of.
I mean, it changed your life forever.
It did, and I'm not, again, I'm not worried about what could have happened. I'm worried about what happened. And personally, that made me, it turned me into a crazy person. But I let that affect me in a negative way. Which someone like Demetrious used in a good way. Sorry, I'm a little sick today. But it's just wrong. It doesn't work. And so the scoring itself, I'm still trying to figure that out. I'm not good with math at all. But if you look at the numbers, I was thinking more like an abacus, having 10 points for striking, grappling, whatever things we're talking about here, and you start with 5 each. And who gets how many points out of this group? You can get to all 10 points if you just dominate it. Again, I don't know. I'm asking for help from fans, from other people that are in the sport. Just how are we going to figure this out? This isn't something I'm trying to I'm just trying to fix stuff. That's what I do. I'm trying to help people out here. So yeah, I own part of that business where we're already doing live scoring with groups of people. We're doing podcasts with previous shows or previous fights where we can analyze and go over like Jones Reyes. I won't do my own fight because that wouldn't be fair. my fight with Demetrious, but it's true. Even if I find out that a bunch of people think I lost, cool. Okay, I'll probably feel better about it actually. But anyways, there's that, and then I work in science. Again, my girlfriend is a scientist. I work in something called life sciences. I work in psychedelics as well. I'm the world's first psychedelic integration coach for high-level athletes and performers. It sounds fancy, but I work with anybody. Doesn't matter. I just like to sound cool. Because I'm the first person who uses psychedelics for performance in sport. Like truly understands the science of it and is exploring said science. But it's really just it started with me with healing modalities. Sure, I work on the political level with Decrim CA, which is a decriminalization effort for psilocybin mushrooms, but psychedelics as a whole are really important to me because they help me heal from being a drug addict my whole life. From 14 years old to 34, I was on pills. Sure, I was competing at a world-class level, a very high level at everything I did because this is what I'm good at. Besides the point, I was competing high the whole time. The one time I became sober, I became the best in the world. And I tell people this because I want them to know this story. I was the best on the planet at something, and the opioids is a huge crisis in the United States. That kept me back. That held me back for so long. It killed me at one point. I went to rehab twice. It was not fun. And psychedelics is what really healed me. And I got into something called dimethyltryptamine or DMT. I smoked that. And I was just, whoa, the party's over. Okay, I gotta get through this MMA thing. And I just realized that through the healing of my brain, or the healing properties of something like magic mushrooms, which is psilocybin is the active ingredient. Well, one of the active ingredients. It's the one everyone knows. Um, gives you this trippy experience. Well, it also leads to something called epigenetic neurogenesis. And epigenetic neurogenesis is the healing of your brain. It is the healing of the receptor sites, the neural pathways, the connectivity between both hemispheres of your brain. I mean, much more. It's a beautiful thing. You get an uptick in all your senses, your sight, your sound, your hearing, your smell. I mean, everything gets brought up. And life is beautiful. You're happy. You don't have to be on medicine. I mean, I was on pharmaceutical drugs most of my life. I'm 36 years old. I was on pills for 20 of those years. A long time. That's not good. But through researching and figuring out and knowing that plant medicines were really good for me, I healed my own daughter with cannabis oil. And it wasn't just that. Again, diet and exercise is key. That's the best thing you can do for yourself is good exercise and good diet. And those diets can vary. Whatever you want to eat it. Whatever not want to eat. No mouth pleasure. I mean, you can have mouth pleasure, but make it healthy. Don't eat bad food. And add in a bunch of mushrooms. Add in actual culinary mushrooms because they're very good for you on a lot of levels. My daughter got sick, and through diet and exercise, she had rheumatoid arthritis, juvenile rheumatoid arthritis at 2.5 years old. Couldn't walk, couldn't think straight. She was depressed. Even at that age, you don't know what depression is, but she had something called brain fog, and she just was a mess. I was a single father at that time. I don't know if I was still wasn't champion then. It was still the first couple of years in the UFC. It was hard, but I healed her with these healing modalities through plant medicine, through cannabis. And this was before people were like, "Oh, it's okay, go for it." Like, no, people would have not treated me well about it, but I was going to do it anyways because I knew it worked. So, that led me to get in deeper and deeper and deeper about myself and to learn the ways how to heal my own brain because I have brain damage. I told you I died of a drug overdose. I was in the hospital for 7 days. I hit my head snowboarding. I thought about going pro snowboarding at one point. Hit my head and was in the hospital for a few days. I've been getting punched in the face since I was 4. And willingly, and not no one beating me or taking advantage of me. I'm a fighter. I mean, I'm a martial artist. I like fist fighting. I thoroughly enjoy it. Not more. I like punching it back now. I don't want to hurt anyone or have anyone hurt me anymore or hurt myself ever again. But I'm a fighter. I understand it. It's what I live and breathe, and it's part of me. It's part of my epigenetics. I evolved. I moved past that, and now I'm I guess a healer. I still have a hard time hearing that word, or because people always like, "Oh, you're like a healer." I'm like, kinda, I guess, sure. I mean, I don't know, because that leads into something that people use the word shaman, and I am taking a 3-year course to become a shaman, but I don't fancy myself a shaman. I'm doing this for my own personal growth and evolution, So, there's a lot going on. I'm doing performance studies with one of my mentors named Robert Forte on the performance side and healing side of psilocybin specifically, more or less. We'll use other psychedelics to see what they do for people's brains. Um, performance studies, CTE, TBI study, PTSD stuff, healing people in a lot of ways. There's a lot of science that I'm involved in, which is cool because some of my mentors are very, very smart individuals, and I'm never going to be a doctor or a scientist or anything, but when I talk, people listen. It's cool. It's really nice to have these smart people. They're like wow, you're not as stupid as you look. But I've just this is my wheelhouse. This is the healing as a whole. It's not just about like psychedelics or not just about this or that. It's all encompassing health and wellness. And then that goes into my newest biggest project probably. Yeah, would be a life sciences company that I'm now part of with equity or investing in. Where you've heard of stem cells, correct?
Yeah.
So stem cells are great. Stem cells are like a building block of life, but there's DNA inside them. Now, if you a lot of people are just not educated on certain topics, but they think stem cells go in, they fix whatever, you're good, bang, okay, cool, kind of, but not really. What we do is we create something called exosomes, and if a stem cell is the building block of life, then an exosome is the blueprint. It's this is how we derive it. So you go from the placenta, after a baby is born, after birth, and then they have the chorion inside of the placenta, which is the best part. Now from there, take out the stem cells. Then you enzymatically take out the DNA. So because with stem cells, if you take them from fat, they have fat DNA, and then if you take them from bone, they have osteo DNA, and then so on. So with these, it's when you take out the DNA, it's just a vesicle, it's a nanoparticle that has a bunch of growth factors in it that can now and microRNA, which signals around the body what's broken, what needs help, to fix. So then it goes in, and one of those little things pops out, it sticks its key in there, and then it puts all of the growth factors in there immediately, and then you have healing. So, that's my new obsession is getting down to that sort of science. I mean, if some people have heard of CRISPR technology, where Joe Rogan always talks about, you can turn a chihuahua back into a full-grown chihuahua back into a wolf. Technically, yeah, you can. We have the same shit. We have the same technology, but we don't use it for this weird thing they're doing in China or wherever they're doing it. Bad luck, China. But we just want to heal people, and these medicines, these exosomes are incredible for healing. I mean, they attack your brain, and your lungs, your heart, your vital organs. They're the world's most potent anti-inflammatory. Like, there's nothing past this as far as science goes that I've seen. This is the bottom line. This is the best stuff you can do. And being brought on to consult for a company like this is really nice. It shows that my hard work has paid off. I'm now consulting with companies like the UFC still about the healing stuff that I can do for them, the CBD work, the CBD company that I have. I had the UFC's first CBD deal, and Jeff Nowitzki, the Golden Snitch, is a good friend of mine and an amazing person. He loves that name, by the way, the Golden Snitch. So don't feel afraid to call him that. He fucking thinks it's awesome. But working with Jeff, he said, okay, well, I need you to make, can you make me this product? And I said, yeah, of course. Fuck yeah. Okay, we need you to get an FDA certification and a BSCG certification, which is a Banned Substance Control Group. And they do drug testing, or they do testing of products. So you don't, if you want to be in the UFC, the Olympics, NC2As, whatever sports organizations that have high level testing, you have to have these certifications to be able to do. Or you have to have those certifications of your product to be in those spaces. So if technically, if you want to ingest any sort of CBD, we're the only company in the world that you can use. And that's because no other company, whether it's Procter & Gamble or 3M or these other giant companies, no one's done it. And my stoner friends and I we're just creative. We've got stuff done. So we're able to. I'm able to bring stuff like this to the UFC and go, look, like I'm here. I'm just looking to help people. Again, this helps the fighters. This helps the fighters. I got this thing. I also work with a company called Brain Tap, where we do binaural beats, a little visor that comes down with LED lighting in front of your eyes. I have one somewhere. It'd be on the bed, but it's not. There's all these different things that put you into a meditative state, and like you saw, Corey Anderson.
Sorry.
The fighter.
Yeah.
So Corey was talking about having putting the Brain Tap on before he fought. That's why he's looked so good recently, because something like Brain Tap will put you into such a meditative state that whatever you're going to do next, you're just super calm. When our bodies are in a fight or flight state, it's not good for anybody. All your body's trying to do is survive. And again, back to all the different healing modalities that I'm trying to work with, I'm trying to do all of it, whether it's food, sight, sound, smell, all of it. I just want to get people in the best possible state, because our bodies create their own chemicals. Our bodies are little chemical factories. And they're just constantly trying to improve or get better or deal with certain outside situations. If we're trying to run from a bear, our body's in a fight or flight state, and our cortisol's up, our other stress hormones are shot through the roof. Well, our body doesn't give a shit about doing anything else but surviving. Anything else. Our other functions are down; they're not as heightened. So think if you're going to perform while in that sort of state, that's not good, right?
Yeah.
You're impaired. So that also goes for doing anything. I don't care if you're doing taxes or riding a bike or speaking in front of people. If you're scared, it's not going to work. It's not going to work as well as it should. You're not going to get the full benefit out of it, or you're not going to be able to say enough and do the right things that you should be able to do. You forget things, you mispronounce things, and then the people you're trying to educate with what you're saying are not going to get the full benefit out of it because you were compromised. You like my nails? My daughter said, "Show me your nails. Show me your nails. I painted your nails." And I was like, "Yeah, I'm covered in all kinds of shit." Of course, you can paint my nails, though.
So shall we move into that? What'd you say? Sorry.
I ramble, so keep asking questions.
Oh no, that's fine. Should we move on to the MMA side of things?
Sure. Yeah. Let's do it.
Yeah. So we'll mention you fought some very, very good guys in your career. We're talking about the guys like Dominic Cruz. I mean, Jose Formiga, Dustin Ortiz, Brad Pickett, Demetrious Johnson twice, Joseph Benavidez, John Lineker, and lastly Koryuji Horiguchi. That's a hard one to pronounce. But which one was the best fight for you in your career?
The best fight where I performed good?
Yeah, well, yeah. Or the most you enjoyed, or the best fight that you liked, or maybe the one you won.
Yeah, the first Demetrious fight, and I would have to say Brad Pickett. Just being in Ireland in general was incredible. I have a very Gaelic name, Ian McCall, but it's a name by marriage. I'm not Irish. I'm a Viking.
Yeah.
Actually. I'm a Viking and a Spaniard for the most part. A little Greek, a little Native American, but the vibe out in Ireland was incredible. Where are you located?
I'm located in England.
Okay. I love England as well. And it was fighting out there was incredible. I mean, the fans are insane. They're so crazy. Like they're really, really cool people. I loved it. So yeah, that fight, because I was compromised. I had an infected hand, as you can see. My doesn't really work that well. I had 3 surgeries. I had a really bad infection, and I got to beat Brad with an infected hand. I got to perform at such a high level, in such a flow state. I mean, those 2 fights, I was in this crazy flow state. That was incredible to feel. Because very few people can ever really not only get to those levels of accomplishment or whatever, but also to get to that level of mental and physical awareness was really cool, really neat. I thoroughly enjoyed it.
So as you mentioned there, you were traveling over to Ireland, and it's not really kind of Brad's hometown, but he's fighting over in his home turf, like British and plus Ireland. So he was fighting in Ireland. So you kind of had to fly over to his kind of territory. How did that kind of feel?
The flight itself sucked. Whatever. It's just flights. But then the thing is, I know that the Irish hate the English so much.
Yeah.
They literally can't stand you guys. I like Brad a lot. Brad's a really good guy. But I used that against him. I was like, I got them. And of course, the first cabbie is like, "Oh, are you here for Connor?" I'm like, "No, yeah, you know what? Yeah, I am. I'm here for Connor. He's my best friend." I'm like, "Sure, whatever." They go, "Oh, who are you fighting?" And I'm like, "Oh, I'm fighting an Englishman." And they're like, "Oh, fucking kill him!" I'm like, yeah. I started to poke and prod and screw around with that, and I turned the whole crowd against Brad. Like, again, Brad is an amazing person. He's super nice, but that's what you're supposed to do in fighting. Is it's a giant portion of it is mental. So yeah, that was fun, and I don't mind traveling. I never minded. I always told the UFC, if you guys want me to travel to go beat someone up where they live, I'm cool. I'm good. I'll go to Brazil. I'll go to Ireland. I'll go wherever.
So you mentioned earlier Demetrious Johnson, the first fight, and there was a lot of controversy through that fight because a lot of people thought you won that fight, and now we're years on end. We're past that point. How do you look back on the fight now? Do you still think you won that fight?
Yeah, of course. I think I won that fight. And it's I just I got kind of screwed. And I'm not bad. I'm not mad about it, but I just still feel like, yeah, I think everyone feels like I got kind of screwed, and it is what it is. There was a lot of other stuff that happened. Um, like the commission running around not showing my coaches the scorecards. It was just weird. And then they realized, oh, we read them wrong, and like it was just it was like that's the thing. It was scored a draw, and they had the scorecards, and then they left with the scorecards. My coaches were like, no, 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 give me the scorecards. So then they had to go, like they were trying to hide them from my people. It was so weird. And again, this is not the UFC's fault. It was the commission's fault. Um, it was just a very weird situation, and to finally have it, to just to know what should have happened. Sure, there was supposed to be a fourth round. He was done. I was toying with him at the end because I knew there's supposed to be one more round, and I'll finish him later. Um, anyways, it was just a bad situation which happened, but yeah, I think of course that will never change.
So did that decision that night help you create your business into trying to help judges be more fixed and less broken, and maybe put your stand onto judges and make it more complete? Because there's still a lot of work that needs to be in judging now. There's a lot of work that's very very open and just needs to be fixed.
Yeah. Um, I didn't go search out for this business. Steve came to me, and I'm just passionate about stuff, and I get obsessive, and again, I like to help people. I like to fix things, and I like to, again, I'm not trying to point the finger at anybody and do this or do anything, call anyone out. I'm just saying what's broken, what doesn't work. Boxing judges don't belong in MMA because boxing is this, MMA is the whole thing. You
Hmm.
know, it's just it's a much more complex system, and it just needs to be treated so. So you know, once Steve came to me and I started to listen to him and I saw his passion for it, realistically, I was like, okay, I'll join your team. Hell yeah, I'll do whatever you need because I know everybody in the sport. I was raised in the sport. I was raised by people like Chuck Liddell, Antonio Benuelos, Jake Shields. Like they brought me up to be the champion that I am, or be the person. They always saw it. They knew me. I was a kid, So I feel like I'm indebted to mixed martial arts forever because of the life it gave me and the fun I had and the lessons I learned. So anything I can do to help these young athletes and help the sport itself, I'm into.
So leading up to your last UFC, leading up to your last Lewis UFC fight, there was a lot of cancellations between fights. There's a lot of fights that got cancelled, and in 2017, you asked to get released from the UFC. And looking back at it now, was that the best option for you to make then?
Yeah, I was on an old contract. They weren't going to pay me any money. Um, and really those last couple of fights were cash grab. Like I needed money, and I just was, I don't know, I wasn't doing well physically and mentally. Um, so some random, just I just wasn't in a good place, and I always wanted to go to Japan anyways. I figured I would kill my career out there and just make some cash and just try it out, and it went horribly, but they paid well, so the results don't. They have nothing to do with it. It was a lovely time in Japan, rising great people, a great organization, and I had fun. I finally got to go out and at least live that part of the dream. The outcome has nothing to do with my feelings about it all.
So we all know you've been through a lot in your career due to your health issues. And what has been like the toughest moment in your career in MMA?
Oh man, toughest point in my career. I had a really badly torn hip and groin, 3 surgeries here, and fracture dislocation here, and 4 surgeries here, and brain. I had vertigo for 8 months. I had, I was in and out of the hospital 12 times in 2 years. probably less than 2 years. Brazil, Ireland, New York, all over California. I've been there was a lot of bad in my career. A lot of good too. There was more bad than good, but the bad was my fault. I can't blame anybody. It was whatever. The worst point in my career though was when my best friend died in my arms. Shane Del Rosario passed away. Um, that was it. That was a huge part in downfall in my life. My life spiraled out of control pretty badly after that. And just knowing the implications, or the implications. There's just a lot of stuff that happened in there that it was very hard for me.
So we'll move on. So when you fought Manel Cape in Ryzen, and during the weigh-in, he actually kind of slapped you on the back of the head, and then there was a few back and forth between you two. Did that when he slapped you on the back of the head? Did that make you wouldn't like? Was there a bit more animosity in the fight tomorrow or next day?
I already didn't like him. That's the thing. I already didn't like him, and then I saw his cheesy mind games he was trying to play. Like he told Ersin Yamamoto, who is Kid Yamamoto's nephew, Kid Ersin's mother, Kid's sister, won, I can't remember, 2 or 3 Olympic gold medals for Japan. One of the greatest wrestlers ever. Not just Japanese, just male or female. She's one of the best wrestlers ever, most accomplished, and she's a person. There's a certain amount of shit talk that can happen in this sport in life without you getting fucking slapped in the mouth. And he told her, he goes, after I knock you out, I'm gonna fuck your mom. And I was like, what? Like, and I'm good friends with Ensign Inui, who used to be married to this woman, and is this kid's stepdad. I was like, you better not say shit to me, because I will slap you. You don't do that. That's inappropriate. That's just, you just straight up don't do that. Unless you want someone to like, those are fighting words. Those are like, I'm talking about breaking a bottle over your head sort of fighting. Like, you don't do that. And so I saw that coming. So I started to poke and prod at him. I started to mess with him. He could say all he wants, and I was like, okay, I'll just block you. You say, I'm not even going to engage because you do inappropriate shit, and then it's pointless. So I figured I called him basically trash. I went to my friend who's from Angola, who's from the same place he's from. And I went to him and I said, Jay Silva, big giant, guy. I said, Jay, what's the worst thing I can call him without being a racist asshole or a piece of shit? Like, from an African, because I've known a few Africans in my life. They're extremely proud people. I mean, they're like, just, it's rad. I love it. How proud. And they're also great. They're really good people. They're fucking awesome. And I was like, what do I say to him? So he told me what to say to him, and I walked up to weigh-ins and I just started repeating it at him. And I have it written down somewhere. I don't want to say it because I don't remember how to word it properly. And I just started saying it to him, and then I just saw his eyes light up. And I basically said, you're acting like trash. You're acting like you're from the gutter or something like that. And it was like really offensive. So of course, then I'm sitting there, and I didn't ever think he would touch me, and he slapped me in the back of the head. So I slapped him in the mouth, and I was wearing a ring, so I busted his lip a little bit. And the thing is, I had a big ring on this side. I had my fan club ring on this side, and I was just gonna hit him, just bang, just give him a 2-piece of the soda. But I knew that if I did that, I probably wouldn't fight tomorrow because I had rings on. I would have cut him or whatever, or cut him worse than I did. So yeah, of course that irked me, that pissed me off. But I knew that I can't let all this stuff affect me emotionally. So I just went out and did my job and ran into the rope, and the rope cut my forehead to the skull, and I bled a lot, and Japan doesn't like blood, so fight's over.
Yeah, that was do you reckon the fight should have been stopped because you grazed your head on the rope, and then it did come up, a cut came up on your head. Do you reckon the fight should have been stopped?
Yeah, the fight was super deep. The fight was like to the bone. So that's the thing, is they used ropes that are not regular ropes. They were LED piping, so thick plastic piping filled with LED lights so they could light up and make it pretty, because Japan has to have everything pretty. And I like the concept, but the fact that they didn't let me Vaseline my face, they don't let anyone Vaseline their face, because Sakuraba got bludgeoned by somebody, I can't remember who it was, and they blamed the guy for greasing. And they were saying, no more greasing. We're not going to put any grease on your face. And I'm like, that's so counterproductive for what we're trying to do. You guys don't like blood, but you don't want grease. Like, that makes no sense. You know, it's so. Anyways, I was driving in on a shot. I knew I had to take him out in a very effective but less damaging way. So I figured I would take him down and submit him or just ground and pound him. But you know, my head hit the rope and it split open. And once I was talking to Jason Herzog in the corner, you know, as he's got me in the choke. It's not tight. I've been talking to the ref. But I knew the blood and everything, the sweat would make everything slip in deeper. So I'm like, okay, let me push this off. And because it was deep enough where I had to fight out. I couldn't do, you know, I had to fix it. And then Jason asked me, okay? And I said, good. And then as I looked at him and then I turned back, the blood just rushed into my eyes and I knew I couldn't see for one. I mean, everything went red. So yeah, the fight was fun. The call of the fight was fine.
So when that happened at the fight, did you think, oh, my luck couldn't get any worse? Like, you know, this is very like unorthodox. This is probably the only first ever things we've ever seen in MMA. Like, you're probably the only one this has happened to you. So did you feel like my luck couldn't get any worse? Everything's going down on me.
Yeah, I had horrible luck in mixed martial arts. You know, that's just what it is. And whether you want to call it luck or karma for the other shitty things I did before that in life, I have no idea. But it sucked. It wasn't fun.
So we'll move on. So when you was in the UFC, was you treating fairly? Because at the moment, Dana White is getting a lot of criticism the way he's treating his fighters and how much pay they're getting. And it's been like disclosed that there's fighters that only get 20% of their earnings throughout the whole year. Do you feel like MMA fighters should get more, or do you reckon was you treated fairly from the UFC? That's our first question.
I was treated fairly from a person standpoint. You know,
Yeah.
I've known Dana teenager. I knew Donna and everybody and Reed and I mean everybody in that company. Bert, I've known them for a long time, so they treated me great. Pay wise, no one's ever got money. Connor, maybe, yeah, Connor made enough money. Khabib does well. You know, there's a few people that are finally getting paid enough. Like
Yeah.
Chuck made a lot of money back in the day. He made millions of dollars, but honestly, comparatively, what it should have been shilled out to him, no, he didn't make anywhere near enough money. I mean, he should have been making tens of millions of dollars. And a lot of people should, especially now. These people have huge followings. I mean, they have massive followings, and having the UFC marketing machine behind them, they should be making. Everyone should be able to add. Pretty much everybody should be able to add a zero to their contracts, and the UFC wouldn't even be at they wouldn't even lose money. You know, they would be at that threshold probably of like the NFL, the NHL, whatever, where they have to pay out. You know, they can pay out like 45 to 50% of the earnings.
So while we're on the topic of fighting, you fought over in Ryzen, as we mentioned earlier, and you mentioned earlier. What was the experience like fighting over in Ryzen in Japan?
It's great. You know, I'm a big deal in Japan. Apparently, it was fun. People are great. The fans are incredible. You know, I love the food, the culture. I'm covered. My right side of my body's covered in Japanese tattoos. I was raised with a family where we owned a Toyota dealership, one of the first Toyota dealerships in the country, and I was raised on Japanese culture, very very much so. You know, my dad always appreciated it, and I just I was excited to go over there, and the people were great, and the organization was great, and it was a very nice time.
So as we mentioned earlier, you fought Johnson, and then the decision that night didn't go your way. But when the fight had finished and you were waiting for the scorecards, what kind of goes through your head?
I thought I was gonna get the nod.
Yeah.
But it was this weird. I had this weird drop in like my whole feeling where I thought, oh, I'm about to get screwed. I saw I'm gonna get fucked over right now, and I did, and it just was like it took the wind out of my sails, and I had to run out of the cage. I was crying. It sucked. That was horrible. I mean, that was such a bad feeling.
So your nickname in MMA, or just nickname in general, is Ian Creepy McCall. Where did that come from? Where did that stem from?
Well, Uncle Creepy.
Uncle Creepy. That's it. Yeah.
Yeah, we you know, I've been an uncle my whole life. I'm not creepy. You know, I would like to preface with that I'm not a creep, I promise. But you know, I was trying to put my friend's son to bed, and it was like 3 a.m. because we were all out partying the night before or that night, and I was sober at that point. This was like fresh out of rehab, so I wasn't, the designated driver. And I go, he calls me Uncle Ian. I'm going to put him, get him tired to go to sleep. And Uncle Ian, Uncle Ian, Uncle Ian. And then all of a sudden, Uncle Creepy. And everybody sat up out of their drunken stupor. And we're like, that's your nickname. Because I made fun of people with nicknames before my whole life, like fighters. I'm like, oh, you're the Iceman? You're going to freeze me? It's stupid. I just think they're silly. And I like making fun of my friends. So of course, then they hear that, and it just stuck. And my first fight after that, I didn't think I was ever going to fight again. Like I said, it was my second time out of rehab, and I just thought, you know what, I need money. My coach goes, yeah, you need money, right? I'm like, yeah. He goes, well, fight this person. And I knew the guy, he's kind of a friend of mine, so I was like, I can beat him. That's easy. So I took the fight, and I wrote down Uncle Creepy, and people loved it. People like just asked for it again, and I was like, oh, okay, sure. And I wrote it down, and then I was bored. I grew my mustache out,
Yeah.
Billy, and it worked. Like I don't know how or why, but it worked. People love that name.
See, when I was growing up watching mixed martial arts, you were kind of the few people that stood out to me, and I was watching as a kid when I was like 11, 12 years old, and I grew on to watch mixed martial arts, and I watched you fight in Ryzen, and it was disappointing to see how that led on.
Yeah, I thought I could win that tournament, of course. So I figured this should be good, and I've never done this before. I've never been able to stomp people legally in the ring. It just seemed like fun. The only time I've kicked anybody in the head was in street fights, and it was just super bad. No, don't ever do that, kids. Don't ever kick people in the head when you're in the street. It's really mean. You can kill somebody.
So at the moment, we're moving on to a different kind of subject. So UFC have gone and fought over in Abu Dhabi, and it's sort of a fight island thing. When you were fighting, would that have like excited you?
Sure. I think I have to go to Abu Dhabi this year if I can. I don't know if we'll be able to, but for business, to talk to some investors and whatnot, and some seminars. But yeah, I love traveling. I love traveling, and for a majority of my life, I mean, I travel my whole life as a family or whatever. But from I guess 28 or whatever on, my career. The only traveling I really did was for fighting. So I just wanted to travel. I travel all the time. I'm actually going a little stir crazy because I was supposed to be in Bali this year again. I was supposed to be in Tulum again this year, and I'm supposed to go to Serbia. Like, there's a lot of stuff that I do, and I'm sad I don't anymore.
So we kind of recapped this earlier. My question was, what was your lowest point in your MMA career? But you kind of recapped that earlier. So we'll move on to the next one. So what was your best moment in your MMA career if you had to choose one?
The best moment.
Would it be winning the belt?
Yeah, it would be beating Daryl, because Daryl was talking a lot of shit at that point, and he did that out of fear because he knew I was going to beat him. He knew that the whole time. Like, I don't hold it against him, but I caught him doing. He apologized to me twice, 2 or 3 times, and he's like, "Yeah, that's not." I'm like, and I didn't even reach out to him. Like, he's like, I heard, like I'm not talking any shit. It's just people put words in my mouth, and he just made excuses up, and then like, I think it was the day before I left to go up there, my agent texted me a link to an interview he did where he's talking shit, and I was like, okay, fuck you, like, you're an idiot, So it's just like this. I need to beat the hell out of this kid. He's obviously in his head. He's scared. So, and again, I don't care if you're talking shit. That's fine, but why would you lie to me about it? Like, really weird. Like, go ahead, talk all the shit you want. Like, I think I even told him, I'm like, yes, talk shit. It's cool, but like, no, bro, it's not how I do things. And I was like, okay. So, anyways, I went and beat his ass and became the best in the world. And I became the best in the world in a parking lot of a Indian casino in Central California. Okay, that's not glorious, but for me it was, because I figured this is it. I'm this guy. I appreciated mixed martial arts that much, where I was totally cool with it just being that. And and the UFC came to me before and goes, hey, if you keep winning, you keep doing what you're doing, beating these guys the way you are, and then we're going to bring you in the UFC. And Sean Shelby, having Sean Shelby tell you that is pretty exciting. So it was definitely the best part of my life.
Uh, so as you mentioned, So as you mentioned there, you were fighting in the parking lot to win the 125-pound belt. 125-pound belt in the was it? If I'm correct, it was in WEC, wasn't it?
No. It was at Tachi Palace, but the
Oh,
WEC had already been absorbed by the UFC. So
yeah.
and that specific hotel, Tachi Palace, is hollowed ground for fighting. I mean, there's been so every single at least most fighters from my generation or the generation before me had fought there. I mean, pretty much all of them. And it was just hollowed ground. It was where WBC started. It was a really cool place, and I had been to fights there so many times, so it was fun.
Yeah, as you mentioned, you were fighting in the parking lot to win the belt, and then later in your career, you went on to move to arenas. Was that kind of surreal that you were fighting in arenas full of capacity of people?
Oh no, I knew the capabilities of the sport and its fans, and I knew that one day, it would happen. And being able to headline cards and be on billboards was a lot of fun. It was a good time just to see that and have that kind of respect and adoration from people.
So as we mentioned earlier, that after your retirement, that you were you own a lot of businesses and you're involved into a lot of businesses. Was that your plan heading out retirement? Was your plan to head into a lot of businesses and get involved and
Oh,
invest?
of course, I come from a a very business savvy family. I'm not your typical fighter. I grew up on the beach in Orange County, California. You know, I was a very a very well off family, and the president of the United States from generations ago was was part of my lineage. So it's you're not supposed to do the kind of things I've done with the opportunities I've had. I'm the black sheep. My family hated what I did. At least my grandparents hated it and told me so. But no one respects what you've done. Your accomplishments mean nothing. You haven't followed the family legacy sort of shit. And it's just like, okay, well, fuck you. I don't care. I'm going to do this because I'm just what I'm going to do. But yeah, I don't know. I forgot where I was going with that. Sorry.
Are you still in contact with the UFC? As we mentioned earlier, that you were in contact with your company with the UFC. But do you talk to them on a different basis? Maybe something to get something organized. Maybe you get partnered with them, as you said earlier, that you were partnered with them and you were the first company to be partnered with them in your business.
I consult on how to heal their athletes.
Yeah.
That's what it's really come down to. Is I talk to them, a few people from the company every once a month, twice a month. Just sure it's about business, but sometimes Nowitzki will just call me and go, "Hey, what are you doing this weekend?" I'm like, "Oh, I don't know. Come to Vegas. I'm having a party at my house or whatever it is." It's just it's still a great relationship. I've never met Ari. I've never met the people at the very top besides Dana. I know the people that work for this company that are still my friends.
So we'll move on to you retiring. Let me look at my question. What was the reason for the retirement? Was it because of the health issues and that you suffered too much damage and you just like thought I have to end it for my health, for myself?
Yeah, a big part of it was that, and just I was in a bad place. I was on suicide watch when I retired. I was just mentally I had a lot of brain damage, a lot of physical damage, and I just knew the party ended a long time ago. The medicine, like I told you before, spoke to me, and I said, okay, this is it. I need to figure out a way out, and I did. And plus, I was still so addicted to painkillers and drugs that I knew I had to. I have a daughter that I raised on my own, and it wasn't. Well, what if I died, or she can't see me like that unhealthy person being an addict. It's not fair to her. So I had to do a change, and I did. And again, I was world champion a long time before I was still fighting. I was the best in the world in 2012. I think it was like I I wasn't I was already done. So I knew that I had to hang it up.
So we'll move on. We're on the same subject. In that you announced that retirement in 2018, but you had a long 15-year career. Have you ever looked back? Maybe thought maybe I could go back to my winning ways and thought maybe I have one more left in me.
Oh, of course. People always bring it up and ask questions, and I just go, no, I'm not. I'm never going to fight again. I got offered a bare knuckle boxing fight not that long ago, and I was like, fuck
Really?
you. Yeah, I was like, hell no, that's great. And it's no, I don't. No,
Yeah.
that's just silly. And the thing is I don't mind the art of it, but there's no art. It's a brawl. It's a bare knuckle
Yeah.
brawl. Gloves
For
on.
entertainment.
Yeah, there's no tactical, no tactility, or I can't think of the word. It doesn't. It's not my game, you know.
Yeah.
And if you watch the old school fighting, really high guard, high elbow sort of thing, it's just a different. I have studied it a little bit, and it's not what it used to be, because it's guys who are bare knuckle and they sit there and they fight like they're wearing gloves, and that's where you end up looking like Jason Knight and Artem Lobov, because it's just madness. And again, I have too much brain damage. I don't ever want to do it again. I like to analytically break it down and go, yeah, I think I could beat Cejudo. Of course, I think I can beat Cejudo, but can I? Probably not. And that right there means that if I don't have a chance to be the best in the world, I'm not going to do it. I didn't sign up for that. I signed up to be the best fighter on the planet, and I did it. So even though I was only there for a short amount of time, still accomplished the goal.
So as you mentioned there, that if you fought again, you'd look at the best in the world and see if you could beat him. And Henry Cejudo is just retired. Have you got any words or wisdom to him?
No, I think he's a douchebag. Realistically, I just don't like his whole thing.
His persona. You don't like his persona?
No, or Colby Covington, these people. I'm like, and cool, you could be a great guy. I don't know you on that level. And the fact that you push that so hard is just like, it's pathetic to me. I think it's really stupid. But their accomplishments as fighters, are incredible. Sure, it'd be fun to analytically break it down, and it would be fun to table an offer if it was like some wild number. Put $1 million in the backpack and give me 5 pay-per-view points, and we'll call it a deal. Okay? I know that. I do. I know the numbers because I've been raised around this. And if it was fair, yeah, I would do it. But I mean, I was only offered $30,000 to fight in a bare knuckle boxing fight when they said big money. My star has fallen. I am not that cool anymore. So it wouldn't be worth it for anybody. So I just like to think that I don't know. I don't want to do it.
Was that 30,000 to show and win, or was it 30,000 base?
Base 30,000 to show up, or 30,000 in general, just base pay, and they said
no win bonus.
Yeah, and I laughed because, of course, at first I turned it down. I said, "Shame on you for even offering me that." But also, I was like, "No, no, I'm not doing it." And then an hour later, I was like, "Okay, how much? How much? Just tell me. I want to play with this." And $30,000. Oh, if this fight's 30, but the next one will get you pay-per-view points and blah blah blah. And I was like, "Oh man, I can't deal with promoters anymore. You guys gotta go. There's the door."
So that's the end of the interview, but we'll go for one more last question. Are you still active in MMA? Do BJJ? Do you still roll?
Since COVID hit, I haven't done anything, but I have, a bunch of other people to look after. I've got my parents and my girlfriend and our kids. There's 4 of them here in the U.S. One lives in Denmark, but there's people that count on me. I have to make money. I have to take care of these people and love them, and I don't have time for it right now. But yeah, I do MMA still, or mixed martial arts, BJJ, hit the bag. I don't spar ever or anything, but I like coaching. Coaching is what I'm meant for, and my physical output is about my own health, or about technical stuff, because that's also where I meditate and I think, is where I shadow box while I'm on business calls or just thinking about projects. Like that's where I do my best thinking. So yeah, I train a little here and there, mostly coach, and just do physical stuff, strength and conditioning, what have you.
So as you mentioned there, you like coaching. Is that a sort of thing you want to go in full time? Maybe coach and be in someone's corner?
Yeah, but full time, no. I don't have time for that. I've got so much stuff to do. There's other companies that we're building and trying to do. It's so much, but I would love to be brought in to help someone like Alex Perez or Chico Vera, people from my old team, go and accomplish things and fight for titles and whatnot, because I believe in them, and they're like my little proteges. So I would love to block off some time during my week to at least be there like twice a week or whatever, just because I owe it to them. I do. They're my family. They're my people. So and I have so much packed in here technically that I have to get it out. I go a little crazy. My daughter and my girlfriend, they don't understand the technicals. Well, my daughter, she has a good understanding. But like most people have no idea when I try to explain fighting. They're just like, okay, cool. Like pat on the head, like sounds nice, man.
So if you was to get approached by an MMA company, like a big one, maybe like a Bellator, One FC, a Ryzen, maybe to be a commentator for them, would that be a song you be interested in? Because you said earlier that you like to analyze fights. Would that be a sort of thing you'd be interested in, maybe commentate for a big MMA show?
Oh, of course. You know, I am a performance coach, so I deal with people over the phone or a
Yeah.
little bit, but it's just talking about, performance stuff. But yeah, I actually tried out for the UFC job that Paul Felder got, and
Oh,
he beat me. Like fair and square. I had a horrible showing. I went out the night before. I I went out the night before I had this thing, and I didn't know what I was going into. They told me, but I didn't really understand. I was up till like 5 a.m. the night before in Hollywood because I've lived in Southern California forever. So I went out partying super hard, woke up hungover, like showed up I show up there and I have a nice suit on, but like Alan Jablon is in the corner in a Versace suit. Robin Black is over here, being Robin Black, and I was just like, oh wow,
think.
yeah, yeah. I was like, I guess I belong here, but
Yeah.
and I fell apart. I was so hungover. So yeah, I blew that one. But if I could do it again, I would love to try out for it. But again, if someone else is better than me, then they deserve it. I'm not going to take someone else's job that can do it better than I can.
If you don't mind explaining, what kind of happened at the tryouts? Was it like, would you just sit at a desk and watch a fight, and they would watch you analyze that fight and commentate on that fight,
Yeah.
or how would it play out?
You go in there and you stand in front of a green screen and you talk and you look back and forth at each other and you read prompts and do this and do that and talk about these certain. But you break down fights and parts of the fight, knockouts, whatever, and then you get into the booth and you do the same thing. You commentate on what's going on. They put you in there with another person who does color commentating, and you break down the whole thing. It was fun, but I mean, especially the life was just a mess.
Maybe if the opportunity was to come again, maybe you'd be like, I'll take this one more serious.
Oh yeah, big time. I would for surely take this way more serious. And I would know what I'm going into myself because I didn't have notes. I had nothing. I didn't write anything down. It was pretty poorly executed on my part.
Well, I would love to see you on the commentary booth. To be honest, it would be amazing. So I wish you the best for the future, and I hope the best in your mental everything. I hope you're really good, and I hope everything's fine, and you and your family.
Thank you very much. Same to you, man. Have fun.
Thank you for your time. Thank you.
Yeah, man. Thank you.